Hi group, we are here today to discuss the differences between quantitative and qualitative research practices in regards to the two assigned articles that we were given, the first one being about the school principal's influence on trust, and the second one with the motivation of parent involvement in secondary level schooling. Two very different research articles, very valid and interesting articles, dealing with sort of a very valid topic. The first one we're going to talk about is the school principal's influence on trust. That was most certainly a qualitative research project, or question was posed with that. One of the huge things that jumped out with the qualitative research is the small population that was taken. It was only 16 mothers, and it was not a terribly randomly chosen group of people. Sort of a small base when it comes to looking at mothers with children with disabilities, as opposed to the other research that was done with a very large population of randomly chosen. The research was done through interviews on a very one-to-one type of data collection. The interviewers were very much a part of the research, as opposed to the second research project, where it was just a questionnaire. They were mailed out, the teachers handed them out, as opposed to the researcher really being in the data collection. They just sort of scored or evaluated the questionnaires when they came in and got their numbers from that. Another thing that definitely makes one different from the other, the first one having to do with a feeling or an emotion that they were looking at, with trust needing a very necessary working definition within this context. I like the fact that there were the definitions given by other researchers on what one would look for or consider trust being. So some other ways to look at trust are things that are included in the definition of the feeling or emotion of trust. The second article was a quantitative article, research, where, like I said, the population was much larger, 770 participants in this one, randomly selected, secondary as opposed to elementary. Let's see, they were looking for concrete information. They needed the numbers, the statistics that jumped out in the very beginning, that they were looking for a conclusion to the proposed question, or the hypothesis that was posed, with the parent involvement in education and how parents perceive it, and how in fact it does help students, even in a secondary setting. So, like I said, they did a questionnaire as opposed to the interviews. The research was very much out of the research part of it, the data collection. And again, they were looking to find a conclusive answer, whereas the first one was really looking, I think, to more broaden the views or give some insight on the research question, as opposed to finding concrete information, to fix a problem or to help something. I do see that there were similarities in the data collection, that they were looking for answers. They were both valid, good questions within education, enjoyable reads actually. I feel like a good research project, or research would use both types in one way or another of research, the qualitative and qualitative. But if you're not able to do both, I feel like you should definitely do the one that relates the best to the question that you're asking or the hypothesis that is being presented within. Okay, thanks. Bye.